Hi there, Kirk here, trying to do another episode of Cartridge Talk this evening. I want to pull out something and show y'all something. And I found this to be kind of interesting. I stumbled across these cartridges, or this cartridge, by accident, perusing the Thompson Center list. And we've been talking on the list about bottleneck cartridges to shoot in the Thompson Center handgun and Thompson Center, carbines. Small caliber handgun cartridges or medium caliber handgun cartridges with bottlenecks. So, got into discussion. Well, somebody mentioned that this cartridge was coming out. The cartridge is the 32 NAA. Now, this cartridge has been obsolete for a little while. You can't get ammo for it anymore. The gun was discontinued. The only gun it was ever made in was the 32 NAA Guardian. They made it and a 25 NAA. Well, let's talk about what the 32 NAA is and go into the story. Well, after seeing that on the Thompson Center list, I had within a year or so purchased a North American Arms mini revolver in 22 Magnum. And I had signed up for their newsletter and other stuff like that. Well, about that time, a newsletter came across on the thing. I saw something in it, and it was talking about the 32 NAA and the 25 NAA. And I responded to Sandy Crystal on his soapbox thing. I said, "Hey, that sounds like a really interesting cartridge." And he said, "Yeah." And so I told him that we'd been talking about Thompson Center handguns and stuff like that. And about 2 weeks later, an envelope showed up at my house. And inside of that envelope was Sandy's card and 2 pre-production 32 NAA cases. So I've got his business card and the 2 cases in my cartridge collection. What is a 32 NAA? A 32 NAA is a 380 ACP neck to 32. Now, the object was to let's go fast. And so it shoots flatter, recoils less. It does. According to the published website data, Carbone was making ammo for them, and they were on. You can go to this day. You can go to the NAA site, North American Arms Firearms site, and they've got the data out there. And basically, what it says is, at a 60 grain bullet, which would be a 32 caliber bullet, 311, I guess, 310, 311, probably 310, 311, going at about 1,220 or so feet a second, a 60 grain bullet, developing approximately 200 foot-pounds of energy. So then they had the 71 grain bullet, which, the hollow points in 32 ACP generally, a lot of them are 60 grain, and the full metal jackets are 71. So they had a 71 grain going about 1,000. Now, that'll give you about 160 foot-pounds energy. Let's compare that to the regular 32 ACP. Got a 60 grain 32 NA going 1,200 feet a second. You got a 60 grain 32 ACP going about 800 feet a second. So it's got a little bit more boogie. And likewise with the 71 grain, 1,000 feet a second on the 32 NAA and 780 or so feet a second on the 71 grain. So yeah, it does have a lot more boogie. But then again, it's the size of a 380 as far as the case goes. And if you compare it to 380 ballistics, it's not really that much different from a 380. It just goes faster, shoots flatter, probably gets, a little bit more traumatic effect because it is going faster. Or maybe a little bit more deeper penetration if you're using a bullet that will stay together like an XTP or something like that. So, I could see why it would have some advantage, but the average Joe that's going to be carrying a 32 NAA would not, would he have a 32 NAA, or would he just go ahead and opt for the 380 ACP that he can go down to the local mom and pop gun shop and pick up ammo and not have to worry about, does this shop stock Carbone ammo? That's the question. Does it stock that? Because I think Hornady may have made a bullet with XTP in it for a modicum of time. But as of present, all ammunition that I can find for the 32 NAA and the 25 NAA have completely dried up. The gun's been discontinued. It is an obsolete round. You can make it real easy. Just take a, a 380 case and neck it to 32 and seat a bullet in it, go to town. I mean, they are kind of cute little cases. I mean, they're, cute little bottleneck cases. Looks like a 380, but not quite. Yeah, I thought it was an interesting round. I thought it was an interesting concept. And I was really surprised that Sandy reached out and sent me an email, replied back, and also sent me some cartridges. I thought that was cool. I mean, I can't fault North American Arms. They seem to be a very responsive company, and they do make pretty decent products. I mean, I've not had any complaints out of the products that I've seen from them and looked at. I've heard their customer support and the customer service is pretty decent. So that's all in all speaks well for the company. The 32 NAA and the 25 NAA were just, they were like the 9mm Federal. It didn't work. And the 41 A&E, it didn't work. So there's been, a number of other handgun cartridges that have come out over the years that just didn't quite make it because the market just was not prepared to deal with what they had, or maybe there were some problems, or they just really didn't offer an advantage. And I think that's sort of the problem with the 32 NAA. The average Joe who was buying stuff said that the 32 NAA just did not provide a big enough step up from the 380 ACP, even though it shot a 32 caliber bullet at 400 feet a second more or so, it just did not trick all the bells and whistles to make it say, yeah, I gotta have that. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video today. It's kind of a cool cartridge, kind of a cool story that I got a business card and a couple of cartridge cases for my collection out of an email. So y'all have yourself a marvelous weekend, and good night.